The human being's true individuality is actually always in accordance with the being of creation, perhaps like a tiny mirror. Nevertheless, he or she attempts to develop further with a false individuality, something which is however counterproductive and entails damage and non-understanding. One should also know that it is never possible to grasp and understand a human being entirely, but probably only ever far less than the half. Nevertheless, the more one is capable of understanding what is going on within a partner of either sex in love and compassion and perception of their present existence, in order to understand and know everything better and to assist in love and evolution, promoting and expanding everything in harmony and freedom, the more one exists together in certainty and creationally given love which flows through everything and encourages all connectedness. Therefore it is the truth that a good and simple life in selflessness, which in the final analysis is always also spiritual teaching, contributes everything to promoting the consciousness and sense of reality and is a component in this, given by the natural creational laws and recommendations and by evolution, the love of creation and by all spaces and times of the nature of being. Therefore, the reality in which one moves and lives must always be in accordance with the true reality of creational nature. This is the only possibility of building up cognitions, love, harmony, knowledge and higher realities. One always looks into being from one point. Therefore, one experiences the various realities on small and large scale depending on the consciousness, place and form of present existence of a life. One takes part in the change of a great time of creation, which is in turn a form of life, in a larger and different and higher reality of being. Even the tiny forms of life, a grain of sand, an insect, a flower, animals and all human beings are, as changing forms of life, always an expression of the present existence in life and the love of being. Creation is the great family of every human being and he or she lives with all of them. All humanities in the universe are also one family. Creation is like the mother and father of all life. The being in the human lives eternally, actually independent of the abilities and understanding of the human being. The love of being is perhaps the driving force for all requirements of the being for living and creating eternally. It is also as if the love of being were living in order to love and life were loving in order to live. Actually, creation is like an infinitely shining star, equipped in itself with the most beautiful things of being, like a present of eternity and always being, for every human being, irrespective his or her outward appearance, what and who he or she is, and yet still perceives everything at some time and starts to live with this point by point and in love with everything. May a star always shine above us and gleam in love, understanding, connection and all attempts to improve everything, to turn all life in a good and happy present existence in the eternal being of creation into love, in order to be together in an infinitely changing form of life and always in harmony. One of the most beautiful things is to bear love in oneself, to give love, to receive love and to align one's present existence accordingly. The human being must also live positively and with a confident attitude, always creatively and constructively, learning in peace, joy, freedom, harmony and love because creation and all being and being is love. Christian Krakowski, March 2008. What rain is to plants, the goblet of truth is to human beings. When they drink from it, they grow out of the darkness of forgetfulness towards the light of knowledge. There, the blossom slumbering within them opens and gleams in the colors of the new world. Etland Theory. When, 27 years ago I joined the core group of 49, I did this from my inner striving to make the contribution to the mission that was possible for me, and to do my best for this. Nothing has changed in this attitude since, and yet them and now are worlds apart for me. It very soon became obvious that the mission of Figu was to disseminate the teaching of spirit and the creational laws it contains in an instructive form to our fellow human beings who are looking for the proof, primarily in order to instruct oneself about the true life and to strive towards the associated change in thinking, acting and feeling. Therefore, I began to walk a path which has the high and worthwhile objective of being human in the real and true sense and following creational laws. Through the study of spiritual teaching and its practical application, I succeeded over time in overcoming many hurdles in my path through life, accomplishing steep and often onerous ascents, and therefore removing many an obstacle from my path. I am well aware that I still have a long section of the path to complete. However, I can always continue to walk it in confidence, because I find in the spiritual teaching a guideline for present existence in conscious self-responsibility and according to the principles of natural law. It is a great honor for me to be able to contribute my part to the mission of Figu, and I count myself very lucky to know Billy as a wise, honorable teacher and a dear friend in our group. I thank him most profoundly for his immeasurably valuable work on behalf of us human beings of Earth and for his wise counsels that have been and are very helpful for my family. I thank our Pleiadian friends for the great commitment and their patience with us human beings of Earth who are willing to learn. My thanks also go to all members of the core group. I am happy that I can count you amongst my true friends. A friendship that will continue to meld us together in future when we continue our very responsible mission work with the objective of finally bringing the human beings of Earth into knowledge of their self-responsibility and striving for lasting peace as well as a present existence for all people that is worthy of humanity. Elizabeth Gruber. The greatest work of the last true prophet and proclaimer of the truth of Earth now reveals for the first time the really true and unique goblet of truth that will finally bring peace in and amongst the human beings of Earth. You will discover that there has only been one single teaching of truth since the very beginning and continues to be only one, that was delivered to all peoples of Earth by various prophets again and again through all the world's eons, and continues to be delivered by the current and last prophet of the new time, being from the true line of prophets. This consists of the prophets Henoch, Elia, Jeremia, Jesaja, Jmmanuel, Mohammed and Beam, who all were and are bearers of no Academian's spirit form. They all proclaimed and are proclaiming one and the same teaching of creation, teaching of spirit, teaching of love and teaching of truth, which guarantees evolution in harmony with creation. Whenever current human beings see the world harrowed by want, war, overpopulation and natural catastrophes, it becomes clear that neither a god, head of religion, ruler, mighty leader, wiseacre or other propagandist will be able to produce any improvement at any time. Only every individual human being is able to achieve a reversal by following the true teaching of spirit. Solely the individual human being is personally responsible with his or her free volition, thinking and actions and with what he or she makes of the truth. Karen Valen, Switzerland. In the writings of Billy, it has always been the passages dealing with fundamental principles and statements that appealed to me especially. Take for example the statements about the laws of negative and positive, or about the mindfulness and clarity of knowledge, or about the row of the 7 values of perception that is described in the spiritual teaching, etc. I have also been fascinated by the explanations of the universe and creation as well as the mathematical descriptions, such as the temporal developments and overall evolution, etc. This and much more in the writings of Billy have helped my life to progress enormously. Without this additional enormous trove, I would probably have tackled conventional literature in life, without ever really obtaining clear answers about life and the actual truth. As far as the entire mission is concerned, I for my part can only say that this represents a clear self-responsibility and a necessity in every respect. The language in the writings of Billy is, in my opinion, extremely comprehensible and explanatory, and it speaks to the capacity of rationality that is present in every human being, even though it may often be blocked up.